Hello friends and welcome to my channel. So today we're going to work on a very simple project, and this project will be a multi-clipboard project, and the goal of this project will be to store data from your clipboard into a separate file. Let me explain. Suppose you have any data here, let's say hello world, and this data is very important to you and you want to save this data into a separate file, and whenever you want this data you can load that data from your command line. So we will see how to do that. The first thing I will do here is creating two files in my project directory, and the first file will be the Python file, and I have named this file as multi-clipboard.py, and the second file will be a JSON file in where the data will be stored. So if you look closely here, there is another file called clipboard.json, and our goal will be to pass command from command prompt or terminal, whatever you call, and this program will take or copy the data from your clipboard and save that into your JSON file. So the first thing I'm going to do here is import import the sys module, and this will help us to pass a command from our terminal. The next thing I will import is clipboard.py, clipboard only, and many of you will not have this clipboard installed. So if you don't have installed it, just go to your terminal or command prompt and write down pip3 install clipboard. If you are on Windows, maybe it will be pip install clipboard, and that will install the clipboard directly into your system. Okay, the next module we will need is the JSON module. Now let me tell you something, that this project is basically for beginners. So if you have only learned about like variables, condition and list, then this will be a pretty easy project for you. So after importing the module, the first thing I'm going to do is to store the path of the file in where our data will be saved, and I will write here a variable called file. And since my clipboard.json is currently in my project directory, I will write here clipboard.json. Since this file is currently in my project directory, I will just write the name of this file. But if you have a separate folder, you might want to get the name of that file, the folder, and after that a backslash, and you will refer to the file. Okay. Now first let me show you what we can do with sys module. If I write here print sys.argv, and let me show you what this sys.argv or arg is currently doing. I will go to my terminal and I will write here first python 3 multi-clipboard.py, which is my file name, and if I hit enter, you can see it says multi-clipboard.py. It's returning a list. If I write here multi-clipboard.py, and if I write, let's say, test hello world, if I hit enter, you can see it's returning another list in which we have the name of the file and the rest of the arguments we passed in. So let me just first clear this out. So now what I'm going to do here is I want this program to have two separate functions, and one of the function will save that data and another function will load that data. So I'll write here def save data, and inside the parentheses, I will set two arguments in case of save data. The first argument will be the file path, and the second data will be the data itself. For now, let's write here pass, and we'll create another data called load data, and in this function we'll just pass the file path, file path to load data from that file. So let's write here pass also. Now I want this program to check if the user is how many arguments this user is currently passing to this program. So we want to check the length of the arguments that are being passed on. So sysargv is equal to 2, because after the name of the file, after this name of the file, we want to pass only one command, and that is why we have to check if the user is passing two commands. So if the length of sysargv is 2, then we want to do something here. Else, if the user passed more than 2 commands, we'll tell the user please add only one command. Now, after the user has added 2 commands, we want to check that command. So we want to see which command the user has passed, and to do this we'll call the sysargv, and since our command will be after the name of the file, we'll pass here 1, because if you see closely here, the command is the second element of the list, and if you have worked with the list, you know the second element in the list will be referred as 1. This is basically the index number of that command. Now after getting the command, we want to load the data. Load data and pass file, because the function will load data from this file. Now we don't have any data, so let's first work with the load data function. So try, and I'm basically using the try except block. If we load the data, and if we don't get any kind of data, if we load the file and if we don't get any kind of data, then it can actually throw an error. So to open up the file, we'll write here with open, and the first argument is going to be the file path. File path. And the next argument will be the mode of opening the file. For example, if you are opening the file in writing mode, this will be in write data mode, so this will be W. But if you are opening the file only to read or check the data, this will be in R or read mode. Now I will pass an alias here. So with open file path as F, then I want this data to be loaded into a variable called data, and we'll use the JSON.load function to load the data. And since we have used the F as alias, we'll pass F here, and we want this function to return us that data. Now if you haven't worked with JSON before, JSON is actually a file format that helps to store the data, and this is pretty much like the Python dictionary itself, in where we have a key value pair. We have first curly brace, then we have a key, and then we have a value, and this is basically JSON. But except this single quotation JSON has double quotation format. So if everything goes well, this function will return the data, but except something went wrong. So we'll use the except method here. Except something went wrong, we want to return nothing. Now, since we have already know how to load the data, we can also work with the save data just like we are working with the load data. So I will write here with open file path in writing mode. Suppose this clipboard.json file doesn't exist in your directory. What this function will do, as this is in writing mode, this will create the file, and I will now pass the alias as f. So with open file as f, the first thing it will do is just only this will, sorry about that, JSON dot dump, and we use this function to dump data into our file. So the argument will be the data itself first, and the next argument will be the file, which means that whatever data is there, this JSON.dump function is going to pass that data into this file. Now let's save this. Okay, and let us come back here. So if the user has already passed 2 arguments, we want to check which arguments this is. In this project, we are going to use 3 arguments. So if the command is equal to save, we want to do something with this. If the command is equal to load, we want to do something with this. If the command is equal to, let's say, list, to check all of the data that is stored in our variable, in our file, we want to do something here. Else, if the user enters any command that is not in our list, then we'll just say the user like command not found. Try again. Okay. So let us first work with the save data. So suppose the user has passed the save command. First, we need to get a key from the user, and basis on this key, the data will be saved into our JSON file. As you know, the JSON is a key and value pair. So first thing we need is the key. So we'll ask user what is the key, and to do that we'll use the input function, and inside this function, in parentheses, we'll write enter a key. Since you are saving a data, first you need to enter the key. Now after entering the key, since this function load data is returning the data into a Python dictionary, this data is currently now a dictionary, and if you know how to work with dictionary, you know how to change the data of a key. So we'll use the data dictionary, we will set the key as key, and the value of this key will be changed by clipboard dot let's say paste. So whatever your clipboard is containing will paste this data into this dictionary, and after doing this, we'll call the save data function, and we'll open the file. Since we are working with this file, we'll pass file as argument in save data function, and the next argument will be the data itself, which means we are passing the dictionary, and this JSON.dump will convert that dictionary data into a JSON format data and pass the data into our file. Okay, and after saving the data, we want the user to be get a feedback. So let's say print data saved. Okay, so let us save this, and let's open up a text editor. Suppose there is hello world. What I'm going to do here is I will just copy this, and let's open up the terminal. Let's first clear this out, and now I will write here Python 3, name of the file, and after the name of the file we'll pass the command. So the first command was save, and if I hit enter here, it will ask from me a key, and the key of this data will be like for example simply hello, and if I hit enter, it says data save. Now if we open up our clipboard.json, you can see that the data has been saved here. So how to check this data from our command prompt or our terminal? In our list command, we'll just simply pass here print data. What this will do is this will show us all of the dictionary data or all the data this dictionary is containing. So let me save this, and let's open up the terminal, and after the multi-clipboard.py or the name of the file, we'll pass the list command here, and if I hit enter, you can see that we are able to see the key and the value pair, the key and the data. Okay, so we know how to save the data. We also know how to load the data, how to see all of the data, but we have to also know how to load the data on the basis of a certain key. Okay, so on the basis of a certain key, whenever you pass this load command on the basis of the key, this program will copy the data from that key. So first we will ask from the user input enter a key. Let's say if the key is in our data dictionary, then we first want to copy the data. So clipboard.copy, and this is the function we will use to copy the data from our dictionary. So we'll pass the dictionary, and to get the data we'll pass the key, and after the data has been copied, we'll just say print print data has been has been copied. Else, if the key is not found, then we want the user to inform let's say data the key not found, let's say try again. So let me save this. Currently our data file or the JSON file has only one data. I want to add another data to it, and after that we will see what this load command is doing. So let me open the text editor, and here I will write lorem ipsum dolor c emeth, and this is something you might be familiar with if you are learning web development. So let me copy this first, Control C, copy, and if I open the terminal here and pass the save command after my Python 3 multi-clipboard.py, and now I have to enter a key Let's say the key is lorem. You can see the data has been saved. If I open up the list, you can see that lorem has been saved into our JSON file. Now let me show you what this load is going to do. So suppose currently I have copied lorem ipsum $c ameth, which means that this data is uh, is currently stored in my clipboard. So if I copy this now, hello world, and if I paste, only I will see hello world, not the lorem ipsum $c ameth. So what to do here? After this Python 3 multi-clipboard.py, if I pass the load command, this will ask, so it is asking a key from me, and what now I'm going to do is I will just pass this lorem key here. So I will write lorem, and if I hit enter, you can see that data has been copied. So if I now open my text editor, and after this line, if I control V, you can see that lorem ipsum $c ameth has been pasted, which means that this lorem $c ameth was copied under the lorem key, and it is now currently stored in my clipboard in my system clipboard, because we have used the clipboard.copy to get the data under this data dictionary. So let's review here first. So we imported the sys module. We also imported the clipboard, and we also imported the JSON. So we use the sys module to pass any kind of system argument. Then we use the clipboard to copy and paste data, and then we use the JSON module to dump and load data into a JSON file. So here is the main file where the data will be dumped and where the data will be loaded from. We use two different functions. The first function was save data, and this takes two arguments: the data, the file, and the data. So whenever you are trying to save any data, first it will open up the file, and then it will pass that data into that file, and to pass we will use the json.dump function. The second function was the load data, and this takes only one argument, and that will be the file itself. At first, if you don't have any JSON data in this file, it can throw any kind of error, and for that reason we use the try and except method. So if any error occurs, then this will only return basis of curly braces, which means no data itself. After that, we are checking how many arguments, system arguments the user is passing on. If the system argument is greater than 2, this will directly throw an error, and it will say please add only one command. But if the argument contains only 2 elements, then after that, first it will just get the command that has been passed on, and after that this will load the data by using the load data function, and whatever the data has been loaded from this file, this will be stored into a data variable, and this data variable will be turned into a dictionary. So after this, we are reviewing what command has been passed on. So if the command is save, this will ask from the user what key would you like to enter to save this data. After entering the key, we'll call the data dictionary, we'll set a new key, and under that key we'll pass a data that is currently being stored into our clipboard, and using that clipboard.paste, that data will be passed to this dictionary. Then we'll call the save data function, and this save data function will then set the file as an argument, which means it will set the file path, and after that it will just send the data. So after calling that function, this will open up that file, and this data will be formatted into a JSON format and will be passed into the file. Next was the load command. So after passing this command, we want to know from the user what is the key or enter a key. If the key matches, then this will check if the key is in data. If this is true, then the clipboard will copy that data first, and then it will say that data has been copied. But if the key is not found in the data dictionary, then it will say that key is not found and try again. And the last command will be the list command. So this will just basically return the dictionary itself, and we'll be able to see whatever data the dictionary is currently containing. So if none of the commands match, then we'll pass or inform the user that command not found, so try again later. And that's pretty much it. So let me save this and let me demonstrate this everything for last time. So let me first clear this out, and let's say I write here, have a wonderful day, and I will just copy this, go back to my terminal, and I will write here after the name of the file, save. So it is asking from me a key, and let's say wonderful. If I hit enter, the data has been saved. Now if I add here list or pass the list command, and you can see that there is another key value pair, wonderful, and the data is have a wonderful day. Currently my clipboard is containing this data. So let's see if I for any reason have copied any other data. So the clipboard is currently containing this data. Now if I want this data again, for some reason this data is not available here, and I want that have a wonderful data, have a wonderful day, I will just go back to my terminal, and instead of list I will pass here load command, and it will ask for me the key, and I will just pass this key here. So this will be wonderful, and data has been copied. So now if I go back to my text editor, and if I press Ctrl V, you can see that data has been pasted. So which means this program is working perfectly. So that's pretty much it, guys, and I hope you guys like it. This is a beginner friendly project, so if you have just started with Python, this will be a fun project for you. So guys, thank you, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.